All right, welcome back to the Underdog Wealth Academy. Today I'm with Brock Painter, and excited to have him as a guest. We hung out last night at the Flow House, had a heck of a time together. It was my wife's first time doing a cold plunge, and very memorable. But Brock, thanks for being on, dude.
Yeah, stoked to be here, man.
I'll intro Brock, and then I'm excited about our conversation that we'll have today. Brock is the founder of Neuromastery. Brock is a mindset coach. And I have only met Brock a couple times now, but in my opinion, Brock is very qualified to be a mindset coach. It feels like you're always voluntarily doing really hard things, which I think you're like the white David Goggins or something, which I think is super cool. Like you're just on your social. If someone goes and follows you, you're constantly just doing things that challenge yourself voluntarily, which I think is super cool. But tell the followers a little bit about what you're up to, Neuromastery, and then we'll kind of get into your upbringing and stuff.
Yeah, so Neuromastery, it's a mind and body performance program. What we do is we help build fitness and flow within. And so basically what we're trying to do is bridge the gap between ambition and execution, because it's very easy to think that, I need to fix this part of my pitch, right? If you're a door-to-door guy, or, I just have to do this thing or say this. And we always just add more and more and more onto our plate where we never fully execute the way that we want. And so what I do is help bridge the gap to where what you want is actually what you're getting. And that's all built from the inside out, because a lot of times, especially when it comes to progress, self-improvement, goals, we expect the car, the girl, the house to build us. But what I believe is it's built from the inside out. We build the environment that we get to live in. And so I help do the emotional healing from the inside, and then I build an environment that's conducive to that growth. And that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Yeah,
I actually heard a quote recently, or just a thought recently, that you need to be before you can build. And I think that's what you're saying is like true success comes from the inside. It's an identity thing. It's a self-belief situation. And then obviously like results come. But things are created first spiritually, and kind of like who we are and how we're thinking of ourselves, right? The thing I love about kind of just what you're up to is people in my space, door-to-door sales, right? And you worked in door-to-door sales for 5 years, so Brock's qualified to speak to that arena. But whether it's in that space or in any space, like confidence is such an important thing, right? Self-belief is so dang important. And there's a lot of gurus out there nowadays that say your affirmations every day, and say XYZ in the mirror to yourself over and over and over again. At some point you'll start to believe it. But I think a better way to go get really confident is to give yourself just to stack wins. And then at some point you just become confident because you have clues that I'm the type of person that like does what I said I was going to do, if that makes sense. Is that part of kind of your message? It feels like, because again, you're always challenging yourself to do hard things. It feels like teaching other people to do that. How do you view confidence and self-belief in some of those topics?
I love that question. Not one you get asked often, to be honest.
Yeah.
You say, how do I build confidence is usually the question. And, I believe there's two different ways to look at this. And the way most people do is you have self-healing and then you have self-improvement.
Okay.
Now, self-improvement, this is your goals. These are things that you want. And the way that we often look at it is it's point A to point B, right? I'm here. This is what is broken, you could say, and this is what I want to fix, right? I have 100 sales. I want 300 sales. Whatever it is for you that you're trying to get. I don't have a girlfriend. I want a girlfriend.
Right.
I need to do this to get the girlfriend. And so we add and stack so much onto our plate. Now, self-improvement and self-healing are both necessary, but this is basically saying, this is who I am, this is what I need to fix. Whereas self-healing, this is your emotions. This is an unorganized world, illogical, doesn't always make a whole lot of sense. And where self-healing says, so self-improvement says I need to be fixed. Self-healing says I'm whole as I am. There was nothing I ever needed to fix in the first place. So confidence, while it is built, it's not necessarily built by doing more.
Sure. Love that.
It's built by understanding and seeing the beauty in everything. I often say a quote that says, the trees that touch heaven often have the roots that touch hell. Because you can't experience full happiness unless you've also experienced full sadness. And understanding that both parts of it are essential to the life. And
100%.
well, not just important, but it's the most beautiful part of the whole picture.
Yeah.
And if you discount one, you also discount the other. And so when you do the self-healing, you see the beauty that's inside you and not just the good stuff that you deem as good.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything in between. And I see that often where you have a situation that you don't love, or you're anxious, or you're scared, or you're seeking a certain feeling, and you try to go and do things that'll create the feeling, whereas it's like, it's not a doing, it's an understanding, and it's going in and really seeing yourself as whole, warts and all.
Yeah.
Because once you do that, the self-improvement becomes darn near inevitable. You're not having to talk yourself every morning to go do a workout. You're not having to say, I need to go do this, because you're already whole. There's nothing you're trying to fix. You just are. And so as you exist in this world, naturally your brain is going to presume growth. And so it's going to go to those places where growth exists, because you naturally just want that development.
Sure. So on the healing side, so you're basically saying like a really confident person starts with that side. It is an identity thing. But what is step one? Like if I'm trying to go have a really awesome view of myself, and I guess what I'm asking about is identity, and just maybe go deeper on that self-healing side, just my relationship that I have with myself. Like what's step one?
Yeah. So funny story about this.
Yeah.
So in my life, I'm obviously, like, I'm an obsessive person, and doing the work was never hard. When I was out on the doors, you'd have our leaders come in and they would say, Brock, if you knock this many doors today, if you work the hours, you're going to get sales, right? And so I would go out and I would knock every single door, and I would work the whole day. And then for some reason, I walked away with some money, and there was other guys walking away with $1 million at the end of a summer. And I was like, what's the difference?
Because you felt like you were just busting it, working super hard.
Yeah, I'm doing everything you're telling me. I'm saying the words.
Yep.
I'm knocking the doors. I'm working the hours. I'm honestly working more hours, probably knocking more doors. I ran between doors a lot of times.
Right.
And this guy's walking away with $1 million. This guy's not. What's the gap here? Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, when I learned this principle, it wasn't a matter of speeding up. It was a matter of slowing down and kind of looking at things as they are and saying, okay, what do I need to learn here? The biggest thing was the awareness that I had to go and find out in myself. Because as I slowed down, and it wasn't that I stopped knocking doors, and it wasn't that I quit working. I want to make that clear. It's not, you still go out and do it. But I had to go in and do this internal work where I really understood the parts that made me unique, the parts that made me Brock, the parts that were good, bad, icky, that I loved, didn't love. And I had to go in and understand them and actually learn to love all of them. And then as I did that, as I showed up to the doors, my energy then shifted. I was able to bring confidence, and I was received in the way that I wanted to be, which provided a lot of fruits in many ways.
Yeah.
So awareness is the answer.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. And awareness, a lot of times, like when I think of that word, it's like just making sure I'm climbing up the right mountain, right? Because that first version of Brock, when you were running all over the place, like you were moving fast, but maybe not quite as intentional as you should have been with how you were viewing yourself and everything, right? So yeah,
and that happens all the time. Like there was even recently. So in January, I ran a race called the Hurt 100. It's a 100-mile ultra marathon in Hawaii, and you climb about the height of Everest throughout the race, and it's through brutal terrain. Like the routes were insane, just super deep, muddy, hard terrain to do. And so this ultra marathon, on the first loop, it's 5 20-mile loops, right? And I go out there on the first loop, and there was pros on this race. It brings out a lot of really good runners.
Yeah.
And I decided that I was going to try to keep up with them. And
what island is this on?
It's on Oahu.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I decided I'm going to try to keep up with these guys. And so the first loop, I go out, and I did it in about 4.5 hours, which if I could maintain that for the whole race, I probably would have won.
You did 20 miles in 4.5 hours?
Yeah, with 5,000 feet of elevation.
Holy cow. Yeah.
But I finished that loop having had rolled my ankle 4 times.
Oh, man.
I got lost.
Yeah.
And I had caused my body a lot of pain.
Just smoked yourself.
Just smoked myself. Yeah. So I start that second loop, and all of a sudden I start having all this self-doubt, right? All the talk. Well, maybe I bit off more than I could chew. Maybe I'm just not enough. This isn't something I could do.
Right.
But I had this realization almost in an instant that said, Brock, run your own race. Because often when we're running around like I did at Cells, it was built out of a place of comparison and built out of a place of envy. That I don't have what you have, so I'm less than, and I have to work harder.
Yeah, a lot of that goes on in any sports, performance-based jobs. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
So you're 20 miles in and you start having these thoughts of like, I've smoked myself. What am I going to do? And then you're saying you basically kind of that voice came to you of like, dude, run your race, play your game type thing.
Mm-hmm. And as I did that, so I'm really good at the uphills.
Okay.
I can hike like a dog.
Okay.
But the downhills, I'm still a newer runner in the ultramarathon community. So I got smoked. Yeah. Right? I didn't have the form. I couldn't run the downhills. So what I did is I started running my race. I would hike really fast on the uphills, and then I would slow down on the downhills, which I started getting passed by people.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is there was 80 miles left. And as I got to the end, I started passing a lot of the people that were ahead of me up until that point, because what I believe to be perfection is that it is possible. It's not something that doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. But what perfection is doing the best with the knowledge and abilities that you have available. And as you sit there and you do that consistently, even though I wasn't beating everyone at that time,
it was your best.
It naturally grew me to finish the race, and I actually ended up running the whole rest of the way.
Way cool.
Had a great race.
Wow. So you finished.
Mm-hmm.
What a beast. How many 100-milers have you done?
I've done 2 so far.
Cool. Tell me about this race. So one of the posts I've seen you talk about, and we know Cam mentioned that you ran this as well, but you recently did one where you run. Was it called the Last Man Standing? On a treadmill.
Yeah.
And to just maybe tell listeners about this one and maybe just what you learned.
Yeah, this one's still raw.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like your most recent one, right?
Yeah, and honestly, probably the hardest race I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me. Yeah, let's hear about that one.
So this is a last man standing race on a treadmill. So it's 5 miles every hour on the hour till you're the last one standing.
No scenery to go look at. You're just like freaking in a room.
And the thing is like this room was filled with really good runners.
Yeah.
Like girls that ran 120-mile weeks, guys that were running, like there was a guy there that ran 17 hours on the Bear 100 up in Logan, which is like insane, right? Like these really good runners. And, I start off, I'm feeling good. And, to hold the 5 miles every hour, you got to do about a 10-minute pace.
Okay, so the race, the setup is you have to run 5 miles in an hour. And then you can wait till the next hour hits, and then you start again, right? So you're running 5 miles an hour, basically, 5 miles every hour, and you just go for as long as you can, which is why it's called the last man standing.
But if you finish the 5 miles before the hour, that's the time you get to break. Which you want to take a full advantage of, because treadmills, the tricky thing that you wouldn't think about, or at least I didn't, is a treadmill is going to keep you at the exact same pace with no ups, no downs, no nothing. Like even road running, there's different variation, which helps you use different muscles. But this one, you're hitting in the same part.
Can you change the incline at all on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can change it, but you really don't have a ton of time, because to maintain a 10-minute mile, like on most ultramarathons, you're going to win that. Like you would win the ultramarathon if you were to make it to 100 miles in that time. So it's a pretty fast pace. So, let's say you do slow it down and you do hike for a minute. You can only stay there for 2 to 3, 4 minutes to have any break at all.
Yeah.
And so in that, I got running, and my right hip started just blowing up about at mile 50. And I started running with bad form, and I was running with bad form in the same area, on the same place, in the same pace. And
50 miles in, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, this room, almost nobody dropped off before mile 50.
Really?
Almost
How many
nobody
people were in this room?
So there was 20.
And there's this room just full of like freaks, like just tough people. Like what who in the heck does, like who are the other people in this room? Well, you already spoke to it basically, but just like, but runners, like these are people that are wanting to push their limits type runners though, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were.
Okay, so keep going with the story. So you're 50 miles in, your right hip starts blowing up.
Yeah, and I was still able to maintain for a certain amount of time, right? I made it to about mile 70.
Okay.
And at mile 70, I'm sitting in a chair, and I was like, Kelsey, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be here anymore. I don't even know why I'm doing this, and I want to be done. And she looks at me, and she says, Brock, you can be done, but you do not die in the chair. And so
man, that makes me like tear up. That's your wife that said that? Wow. Where'd you pull that from? That was just inspo in the moment.
My wife's a baller. She's
Dude,
talked me through a lot of runs. And she just said, she goes, as long as you do your best, you can hang your hat on whatever happens today. And I made it to mile 85 by the end.
Beast. Cool.
And that race, I'm still recovering from.
Yeah, I bet.
But it's, there were a lot of emotional moments from that experience.
I bet. Dude, one cool thought, just take away for me is just like that relationship with you and your wife, having a spouse. I think a lot of people need to be very mindful of who they marry. You want to marry someone that gets the most out of you as possible, right? Like someone that like just knows what your ceiling is, and it's like, Brock, dude, I know what your ceiling is. Like you got more in the tank, right? I think that is so cool about your wife and that relationship that you guys have, and to be able to go borrow from those types of experiences will bless you guys. What a cool relationship. That's really neat. So that's crazy. Who ended up winning that, and how long did they go?
So it was Jordan Maddox and Zach Garn.
Okay.
They were the final two.
Okay.
They made it 105 miles, but it's supposed to be last man standing, but they decided that they were going to end at the same one.
Okay.
They just kind of agreed on it, and we're done.
And how many more were there when you bailed out?
I was the fourth. Good
for you, man. That's impressive.
I could have made it to the 105, man.
Yeah. So what's the driver? Like, you're doing these things. Is it honestly one of the drivers to be as qualified and confident as possible to then go help other people with their demons that they go face? Like, maybe speak to that.
Yeah, there's a few reasons. One quote that I often say to myself is, for every ounce of pain I feel today is an ounce of strength I can give tomorrow. And so I know for every single time that I push through one of these barriers is now an opportunity that I can give that to somebody when they can't give to themselves.
Yeah.
But I also see myself as a hunter, right? In the days of old, the hunter goes out, he brings back a kill, and he brings the food back for his family, and hopefully stories to tell. And I see myself as, if I'm going to go work every day, and if I'm going to go put myself out there and leave my family, I better come back with some stories to tell and lessons to teach to my son and to my wife and to my family. And, that's a huge driver for me. But then the third one is, I'd also believe that growth is systematic. It's not necessarily attitude-based. I don't believe it's some motivation or some God-given gift to some people and not to others. I believe that you can systematically change your mind and body to work for you rather than against you. And in that, I've been able to prove it. Like, I'm not an athlete, or I shouldn't say I'm not, but I've never been a winner. I've never won anything in my life. I was fourth string corner. Actually, Cam, the one you keep mentioning, he started over me, dang guy.
Yeah.
And
you're in high school?
Yeah.
You weren't like, what you're getting at is you're not like some freak athlete that just was always the starter.
And I was never really even a runner. I started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it was never something really that I felt was calling me. But what I believe is that we can systematically change the mind and body, and I'm showing that is possible. Like, my first 100-miler, I trained for 3 months to get ready, and it was the belief that made the difference. It was creating a whole version of Brock that then allowed me to make whatever adjustments necessary to get me over that finish line. And I've been able to do it in a lot of arenas, specifically physically, but it's not just ultramarathons, high rocks, Ironmans, right? Like, in the last 3 years, I've taken on some of the biggest endurance challenges, and I'm not saying this as like, oh, cool, Brock, but it's to show that, you can too. And with those lessons you learn from those opportunities, you can bring those back to your family. And you can do that whether you're out knocking doors, you can do that whether you're working a 9 to 5, whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you're going out and creating. Like, just make sure whatever you do, you come back with those stories to tell, and that you can change and grow and develop yourself to give that to others.
Yeah. I think that physical fitness and that arena is a cool way to go do it, though, because it's like, it's pretty white or black. Like, it's like you got the thing done, right? You ran 100 miles, you finished the race. And man, like, our body, because of evolution and just like that fight or flight, or just like that, biologically we're wired to, it's like, resist, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, stop, don't do this anymore. And just that, like, listening to that not listening to the animal brain, but then kind of the human brain overriding it, being like, dude, you're fine. Like, keep going, calm down. Like that relationship between those parts of our brain, it's hard to go find any other way to go challenge that than the physical stuff, right? So is that kind of why you've chosen, you're saying, you know, athleticism, like you're a fit guy, but like you're saying you've chosen that arena because it's just an amazing arena to go play and to learn that stuff. Is that kind of how you think of it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the physical because it cannot be faked. It cannot be gifted.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You
have to earn it.
Yeah.
You have to.
Right.
And that's one of the beauties of it. But, I mean, the physical is kind of the shiny object. I mean, I'm facing it in all 4 categories of life, the physical, emotional, spiritual, mental,
right,
all the time. I'm building a bit. Like, I think, you know, you see these people who are out there facing themselves physically, and, yeah, if that's all you do, it's amazing and really cool.
Yeah.
But how does that apply to Parker, right,
Sure.
who runs a company,
right,
a CEO, right? I think where the people that I admire are able to find out how they can go out and excel in the physical realm, build a business, and have the family, because I do believe that you can have it all.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, as long as I'm building and developing myself into what I believe I'm capable of, because what we call our community is category of 1, is where Parker being the best version of Parker is where you bring the most light to yourself and to the world around you, to your family, to everybody. And the more that you can develop that in those arenas, it doesn't matter whether you run a 100-mile race, but are you doing the best for Parker?
Right.
Right? And you might be different than me. Where you excel, what your gifts, talents, and abilities are different, that's okay.
Yeah, and
bring the best.
Right. And I mean, I think the main thought is just, you know, whatever arena you're playing in, go push yourself in that arena so that you can then go give to others, right? Whether it's in whatever arena you're playing in, and you're choosing, you know, the physical and kind of the mental game and just how those overlay, but like those things apply to every other part of life in a massive way.
100%.
Yeah, so that's cool. Tell us more about Neuromastery. So are you coaching mainly individuals, businesses? Tell us more about how that business came to be.
Yeah. I mean, where it all started. So I told this story last night in the sauna, but I'll touch on it again because it kind of helps build
some context.
Why.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, I played football. And like I was saying in summer cells as well, when I was out there knocking doors, I played with a lot of comparisons, specifically to my older brothers. And I wanted nothing more than to keep up with them. Okay, and I had a brother who played D1 football for Utah State, and I saw him hit hard, so I was too. And I played with recklessness, abandonment, ending my junior year career with 10 concussions and having a lot of issues, from bloody noses to passing out to...
You get 10 concussions in 1 year, or you're saying just kind of...
Over the span of 5 years, it all
that's
happened.
Insane, yeah. I've had one, and like that rocked my world for... Yeah, it was no joke.
Yeah, it was really tough. And like I said before, I have an obsessive personality, so my world revolved around football. Okay. I didn't know any different. That's where my friends were. That's what I knew. That's what I did. And all of a sudden, from one day to the next, that was gone. So that brought a lot of mental health struggles.
So you quit football after your junior year because your doctor was like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
Yeah. Well, he told my coach.
Yeah.
Said, Brock can't play.
Yeah.
So it was kind of...
And at some point, it's like 10 concussions. Like at some point, you're probably like, okay, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
But that was a big part of your identity, right? And so now that's taken from you.
Yeah. And so that brought some mental health struggles where I had to figure out who I was, and I also had to figure out how to regrow my brain. So I grew a passion of working with myself, regrowing brain, neuroplasticity, neuroscience, and things like that. And then as I grew older, I served a mission, went to college, and I did 3 years of finance because I was stubborn, and I was like, oh, I got to go learn how to make money, right? But one day my wife sat me down, and she said, Brock, you know, why are you doing finance? You're supposed to be working with people. And... because it was an uncommon thing where that's what I was often working with. That's what I was passionate about. I was taking psychology classes just for fun. I loved to be there. And so I switched degrees 3 years into psychology.
So, yeah, because I've only met you a couple times, but it does feel like people give you energy, and like you thrive being around people and having these types of discussions and stuff. So your wife saw that in you, sits you down and tells you, dude, you're climbing up the wrong mountain right now. That's cool.
The wise woman she is. And
that seems to be a recurring thing. That's awesome.
There's so many stories.
Yeah.
Where she put me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And so that pivoted, and then I went and got my degree in psychology. And then while I was doing summer sales and knocking doors, I was getting that degree done, but I was also working with neuroscientists, kind of learning how to systematically change the brain. Like it's how to create neuroplasticity and change the brain to form and function to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was learning all of this, I graduated college, and it was like, okay, like I can do this. And I remember I was sitting in a summer sales meeting, and the guys were talking to me, and they were like, Brock, one more year.
Yeah, like we do. Like I just got back from doing that with 100 reps 2 weeks ago.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I can recruit people to this, I might as well. I love this, and it was a calling, right?
Yep.
And so I pivoted, and I put a post on Instagram, and I said, hey, if you want me to do your fitness training, I can, and I'll throw some mindset stuff in there along the way. And from there, it just birthed. Cool. And that's kind of where it all came from. And now we've been able to grow and have a pretty good engine where we're doing some cool stuff.
So who are you mainly coaching? Like what is your customer mainly looking like?
A lot of entrepreneurs,
cool.
Some door-to-door guys. Yeah, entrepreneurs are typically about 25 to 40 years old.
Yeah, so people probably that are like kind of the captain of their own ship, and there's some anxiety that comes with that, right? And so you're coaching them on how to go overcome those mental barriers and win, and that's awesome.
Well, a lot of it is when someone comes to me, they're ambitious. They're typically leaders.
Okay.
Because leaders understand the value of paying for speed.
Right.
And they're tired of waiting.
Right.
They're sitting in quiet desperation, knowing they were meant for more, but they can't seem to figure out how to bridge the gap between their ambition and execution.
Yep.
And that's where they show up on my doorstep. They've usually paid for lots of coaches or programs, therapists, things like that, and it just didn't ever seem to fill that hole. And what I do is I help through mental reprogramming and through neuroscience and things like that. I help them learn how to bridge that gap to where what they want is actually what they experience, and that physical world starts to reflect how they feel about themselves inside.
Cool. So when you're coaching someone that's a salesperson or an entrepreneur, are you using, I know you're a mindset coach, are you using any of this like go push yourself physically type stuff, or are you trying to go into their arena? And I guess just walk us through kind of what those frameworks look like, and the, you don't have to give away all your secrets or whatever, but what does that look like, right?
No secrets here.
Salesperson's being coached by you. What does that look like?
Yeah, I don't believe they're very separate. But it's an inside-out transformation. First, we got to go in and bring awareness to what's stopping them, right? Because one thing with our subconscious mind is we often don't know what's there or how it's affecting us. We just look at our physical reality and say, I don't like what I'm seeing. Like, imagine your reality being a computer monitor. Right? It's the screen that you're seeing that's being projected of what you experience. And often what we do is we go to the monitor and we sit there and we push all the buttons hoping something changes. And then we're mad when it doesn't work out for us.
Right. Because your inputs aren't changing. So why are you hoping the computer's going to spit something else out?
Well, the software you're running on the inside isn't developed enough to be able to manage the goals that you're setting. And so there's a disconnect. And so what I do is, first off, you have the computer, but you got to go in and work with the system that's running the show there. And then as you do that, once you start to work from there, like I said, the self-improvement comes inevitably. And I build a body that is connected, that can handle the challenges that you want to take on, that gives you the freedom to run if you want to run, jump, or lift. But I also give you the freedom to be able to have the emotional intelligence and make the decisions you want to make.
Cool. So you are coaching, like there's a physical component to coaching. Regardless of the industry that they're in, you're using the physical component as well, but then you're also climbing into their brain and how they're thinking and maybe their industry, and giving them some coaching there in terms of like that stuff as well. That's cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, dude, coaches are so important. Having a good head coach and having people in your corner, like I feel like the ROI I've had there in my life has been massive. And I think everyone needs a team. Like even the most successful athletes in the world, they all have a team, right? Like the Tom Brady's, all those people have a team of people that they can go like work with. And I'm sure for you, like it's so dang fulfilling to like help people go bridge that gap between their performance and their potential. Like what a cool quest that is, right?
Well, I love that you brought that up because, I know for me, right,
Yeah.
It's kind of like an ego drop when you sign up for a program or you say, I need help, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah,
if you look at the best in any field, they all have people in their corner that are helping them grow and they're helping them succeed all along the way. And winners understand that. And I don't mean winners as in they beat everybody else, but I mean the ones who are truly getting what they want out of life, they all understand that principle. And they're willing to pay for the speed. They're willing so they don't have to go through and make those trials and those errors because somebody's already been there and they're obsessed about it. Like, I believe that I always say this is like, if your coach doesn't have a coach, you have the wrong coach because they don't practice what they preach. Like, the best leaders are always the best followers. Like, the best leaders aren't the ones who don't need help.
Right.
They're the ones who get the most help and give the most help. And it's a trail.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a big golfer, and Scotty Scheffler, I don't know if you follow golf, but he's like by far the best golfer in the world right now, not even close. And I mean, yeah, dude, like he's warming up for a round, and he's got 3 guys standing around him, like watching his swing, giving him tips. Like, there's just you should never be too proud. No one will ever reach some level where they like, even if it's like, even from a technical standpoint, you're just 10 out of 10. Like, we as humans, we're fragile, and one thing might happen to us, and then the next day we might digress and head in the wrong direction. And I just think having people in your corner, having people on your team is huge.
Yeah.
I've been a part of a mastermind for the last 2 years. It's been really good for me. And yeah, like to your point, the men in that mastermind group make a whole lot more money than anyone else, like than any other circles that I'm in. But here we all are in a room being coached by someone. Like if you're too proud to be coached, then you got problems. And I think your quote or your thought is super cool. Like if your leader doesn't have a coach himself, then you probably got a problem, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really, really a neat thought.
Well, and I think about you. You're an amazing business leader, right?
Appreciate that.
And you're leading teams. Guys love you. They care about you. They want to follow you, right? Do you really want to go out of your zone of genius to have to now go learn neuroscience?
Yeah.
Right? That's a whole PhD in and of itself. But like for me, I want to go spend my time there. I want to go spend 100% of my time, efforts.
You geek out on that stuff. So you love that stuff. So
and I shortcut your time. You're like, hey, Brock, give me this result.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Right? And then you just do the work. You come in, you do it, and then you can move on with your life and have the skill set without having to go do the PhD.
100%.
Right? And like for me, like there's certain things I don't want to learn. I don't want to. It takes me out of my zone of genius and what I love, and I don't want to do that, which is fine. It's no kick in the balls to me.
Yeah. No, I think more people need to have that mentality. We were just joking about that with this. So my podcast and my social media and stuff, it's like filming one of these and clipping up a video or whatever would take me 20 hours. Like, it'd be terrible. But there's people that are really good at it, and it's like I'm going to pay them to go do that for me. And I think coaching, working with someone like yourself is kind of up the same alley. Fitness for me, it's like I actually love lifting weights, and I love trying my very best to be in shape, but it's not something that I've studied. So it's like I'm gonna go watch videos and learn from other people. And I think this concept of not being too proud ever to learn and to hire someone, like if you can go think abundantly. Sometimes like we'll go spend money on consumption really fast, but we'll hesitate to go like pay a couple grand to go invest in myself and hire a coach to help me with something that will like, dude, the return on that, the best investment ever that you'll ever make by far, not close, is in yourself.
Oh, for sure. Not
close. Like I think in order of like steps like that, you should go all in every year and invest very aggressively in your development. Like you will never out earn your own level of development, period.
Dude, I love that.
And I love teaching my reps to go buy properties and invest their money, and that should be part of the equation. But I also think every year people, when they're setting their goals and they're trying to get honest with themselves on like, what's the next level in my life, finding coaches. I think in terms of income, for example, like I think that there are levels, right? A 6-figure earner that's a level, right? But in order to go get to a 7-figure or 8-figure, whatever that level is in terms of income or net worth, like Usually it's a who that's going to help you go capture that next level.
No, I love that. I mean, you think about you, right? If you were to take all the time to go learn social media, you said it would take you 20 hours to do one reel. Like, your reps would be so much worse off.
Oh, terrible. I'd be neglecting.
They want you. And what brings you unique, like, I often think about one of the biggest lessons I've learned from every race I've done, from every challenge I've taken on, from everything I've learned with my family, my business, is stop trying to be the best. Be the only. Because that's where you're going to bring the most value. And I think about this all the time because there's certain standards that come into play, right? I see reps and people all the time where they hold a poor standard. No clear vision. They don't really know what they want. They're just kind of going with the wind, right? You've seen them out there on the doors. They'll come, they'll show up, and they just, like, I'm here, aren't I? I showed up.
Right.
Why aren't I getting sales? And often it's poor standards gets no result. But then you have a good standard. Okay, good standards are the ones who showed up, they said everything, they knocked all the doors, right? I checked every box. Why aren't things working out for me? Right? And it's good. Good standards gets poor results. Poor standards gets no results. But when you're holding a good standard, you're basically just getting done what you're told to, and it's all out of fear because you're afraid you won't have any money. Then you have an excellent standard. These are your doers. These are the guys going out. They're doing above and beyond. They're knocking all the doors and more. But what you'll often notice them saying is like, what more do you want from me? I literally couldn't do any more. And the problem with all three of those is they're all in comparison of 1-to-1. You're either doing better than everybody else, you're doing the same as everybody else, or you're doing worse than everybody else. Either way, somebody else is setting the standard in your life, which is a big problem. And so what I believe is hold an outstanding standard where you are the only.
Yeah, dude, that is really cool. I love that.
It's creating a whole nother category that says it's just me.
And dude, that applies so much to, again, anything performance-based, sports, sales, because what happens, like I've seen that big time. Like the best reps I've ever worked with, they're not leaderboard chasing, because if they were, then they're basically like turning up or turning down their level of commitment and excellence based off of what everyone else is doing. And, but if you're kind of like creating your own end zone, if you will, based off of what is your best, then the sky's the limit. Like, for real. I think you made me think about this word, like the word unique, when you said, what was the quote again? Don't try to be the best, be the only. I just think of the word unique when I hear that. And like, I've been told, for example, if you want to grow in social media, or if you want to be an amazing leader, then like the word unique is just super important. Mm-hmm. And because you're not going to go grow if you're just trying to copy and paste like what everyone else is doing. Like, be really honest with yourself. Like, who am I? What fires me up? What am I really good at? What am I passionate about? Like, you've used the word calling. Like, what's my calling? Like, what does God honestly like want me to go do and be excellent at? And what am I excellent at? And then I think you just exploit and you just lean all into your uniqueness. And I think if people get really honest with that and just go all in, full send there, then they can go create something super epic.
Oh yeah.
And if they're selling or whatever they're doing, like, you'll just go be your best self if you'll just focus on you, like not comparing yourself to others, not kind of leaderboard chasing, but just doing your very best. So it goes back to the story you told, right? Like, I'm going to go run my race. I'm not running someone else's race. Comparison can be kind of a dangerous thing, right? You're 20 miles into this 100-mile race and you're feeling a little bit of like, oh, I've gone really hard and what's going to happen? Are people going to start passing me up? But when you just settle into that, like, hey, I'm me, I'm going to do me, I'm going to do my very best, there's some peace that comes over you and some power that just like allows you to go run the race. Mm-hmm. So I think that's super awesome. Any other nuggets that you would just kind of, I guess, in closing up that maybe we didn't cover today that you would want to share with everyone?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at it as a whole, the whole conversation, right, it is summed up. Like, instead of trying to be the best, be the only, because when you truly have that awareness, right, you feel whole as you are. You've done the self-healing. Mm-hmm. It's where you understand that anywhere you go, there's value. You bring the value. And that's where your external world then begins to reflect how you feel about yourself on the inside. And you see your highest and best version all the time. And that's what you bring to the table. Because I'm not here on a podcast trying to be Parker, and Parker's not trying to be Brock.
Yeah.
You bring so much knowledge and value to this podcast. And if you tried to be me or come to my, like what I'm doing, it would make no sense.
Yeah.
But the most value that you get to bring is when there's that synergy. You bring Parker and the highest, best version of Parker and every single rep on those doors. When you bring the highest and best version of you to the doors, people reflect that. It's like the guys that were walking away with $1 million and me walking away with less, like it was the energy that they brought to that door. It was the way they were received. It wasn't what they said. It wasn't the work they did. Not saying those are discounted, but it wasn't that was the differentiator.
Yeah, they just had unlocked who they are and how they show up internally, but also customer facing. Like that's what, if there's a 10 out of 10 type of approach, like that's what that is.
It's an inside out transformation.
Yeah.
The doors are a reflection of you. Your wife is a reflection of you, of how you're showing up. And that's probably going to trigger some people hearing. They're like, no.
Yeah.
But because that triggered you, that's the signal to say, hey, there's something amiss. And I can come in and rewire and reprogram to where it does reflect what I want. Yeah. Because otherwise you're in blame, justifications, and fear, hoping something changes, and it just won't until you do. You don't get out of life what you want. You get out of life who you are.
Yep. Love that. Yeah, be it, then build it. Like you gotta go figure out who I am, how I'm operating, how I see the world, or how I see myself, and then go execute. I think that's awesome, man. Well, where can people find you? I know you have is Instagram the best place? I can make sure to link your Instagram. Where else can people find you?
Mostly Instagram, BrockPainterOfficial.com. We got a YouTube,
cool.
Brock Painter. So if you want to go see some of these races and me die on a treadmill, there's a YouTube about it.
It's entertaining, man. I love watching that type of content, by the way. Like there's a guy that's like hybrid athlete, I think is how he brands himself. What's his name?
Nick Bear.
Yeah, dude. Love his stuff.
Yep. Nick Bear's a legend. I love his stuff too.
So if you like Nick Bear's content, you would like Brock's, because it's got a similar feel, like kind of bodybuilding, but also not bodybuilding, but like resistance training plus running, long distance, just like full send athlete. And man, yeah, those people that use that as their arena, like the mental side of that is insane, and I admire it a lot, man. I really do. I think what you're doing is super cool, and I know that you'll continue to bless a lot of lives, and so I'm cheering you on, dude. And I hope we can kind of do some stuff together. It'd be awesome, because I have a lot of reps that work with me that I feel like a responsibility and some stewardship to help them overcome the mental stuff, right? So that they can go achieve their goals and live their dream life. And
let's go.
I think it all starts on the inside. So thanks for joining today, bro. I appreciate you big time. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. We will catch you on the next one. If you're trying to get into real estate investing, check out my real estate course. If you will DM me the phrase real estate, I will send you a code and it will be free for you.